Today's webinar is all about the reports module in Koha. For the next 20 to 30 minutes, I'm just going to be providing an overview of the reporting tools that are available within Koha. And I should begin by saying that it has, as a system, it's got very robust reporting capabilities. Unlike other systems, absolutely everything in Koha you can report against. All database fields are within tables, so you can generate any management information that you require from the library management system. And as I'll show you in just a few moments, it has got a completely open database schema for you to consult as well. So I'm going to start by having a look at the different permissions that are associated with the reporting tools so that you can get an understanding of what your library staff can do. So if I have a look at my user record and take a look at the permissions, we've got this area here for the reports themselves. So if you can obviously search your permissions as well to save you having to look through the long list. But here's the allow access to the reports module, and it's split into 3 areas. So you can give staff access to be able to run reports, but not to create or delete them. So it does allow that little bit of control over them as well. So it's split into the 3 different permissions there. You can also give staff the ability to create and to run a report, but not to delete it. So you can, they're quite granular permissions. The other thing, just before we get going, really to highlight is that a lot of our libraries utilise the area on the front page, either in the left-hand panel here or sort of in the main body of the screen, to put links to reports that their staff need to run regularly. And that saves those members of staff having to come into the reports module itself and find that report. They'll have the information that they need as a link on this homepage. And we use that quite a lot on our system here. You can see we've got somewhere we've just got sort of selectors in, and these are reports as well, or we've got, actual links to reports too. So I'm just flagging that as another one of Koha's strengths. It's very configurable and you can really put everything that you need into one place. Now, there are also some canned reports that come delivered with the system, and by canned, I mean that they have a particular role to play, and you can't manipulate with the function of that report, and you can't change the output, but you can often do selectors. So if I have a look at, for example, on our circulation page, we've got things like our holds queue and our holds to pull, and these are actually driven by reports in the background. So if I look at the holds to pull, you can see that I can refine my date range, but actually I can't make any further selections and I can't change the output or what this report's actually doing. But although it's just accessible via the circulation page, it is still being driven by a report. Now, there are also areas where we can use under tools. We've got our HTML customizations area, and this is where we can also set up other places that we want reports to reside. So I've got an example to demonstrate this. On our cataloguing page, these are our cataloguing modular buttons, but at the bottom here, I put a quick link on to a cataloguing specific report. So now a member of staff can see any reports that they need to run connected to cataloguing from the cataloguing module screen itself, again, without having to go to the home, to the reports module. And clicking on that link, I've got the link set up to open in a new tab, and I immediately get my results based on the criteria, the query that was set up when this report was run. So it's just another thing I just wanted to sort of highlight that you can do. But now on to the main part, and we've got our reports module, which is accessible, providing you've got the permission to access it from our modules buttons here, or from the more option at the top left-hand corner. So if we come into the reports area, this is what we can see that's visible on our page. I'm going to come back to the guided reports area in a little while. We'll spend a wee bit of time there. But I'm going to start by looking at some statistics wizards. Now, these are reports that allow you to see a snapshot of the database at the time. It's all about counts and sums, and the output is simply statistics in a table. If you're wanting more detailed information, if you're wanting lists and so on, you would run a report. You wouldn't use a statistical wizard. But you can make selections at the point of running this report, but as you'll see, there's no output options. So if we have a look at a couple of examples, I'll come into the catalogue section here. You can see that you've got the selections that you can make listed. You can output what you want as a row and a column. And in various instances as well, you can also make ranges and you can select from drop-down lists. So to give you an example, I'm just going to run this report. So what this is going to do is output the item type as a column and the home library as the row, but you can see that by default, it's putting a library selector in there for me. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. What you can also see is that you have the ability to count different things. So here we're counting the total number of items, but I could say actually I just want a count of the bibliographic records because a catalogue record may have multiple items attached to it, of course. So you can make that distinction. And you've also got selections to make for the output. So do you just want your output on the browser screen or do you want to download it to a file at the point of running this report? So I'm just going to submit it. So I've not made any changes and there's my result. So I've got the item types along here as columns and then the main library statistics, because remember that filter was there as the row. Now I'm just going to return to the same report and I'm going to take the main library filter away, just make it blank, and this time it will give me all item types for all libraries, the count of all of these. So we can see again, each of the configured libraries appears as a row, our item types as columns, and then you've got your total at the bottom and of course at the right-hand side as well. Now, to show another example, if we have a look at the holds statistics wizards this time, what we mean by in Koha by a hold is a reservation. So this allows us to do things like date ranges. So I'm going to select a date range, click there and I get a calendar. So let me just take it back maybe a couple of years ago to today. And I'm going to select the type of weighting. So I'm looking now to see, I get a count of how many holds have got a status of weighting that have been placed in the last couple of years. Now, real life environment library, we're not going to have that date range for weighting holds. So perhaps placed would be a little bit better because we want to see, or we could do placed and weighting. Let's see what's been placed over in this date range. And we can submit that and we get 54 reservations have been placed on our system in that date range. I'll go back to the reports homepage. We have more canned reports that come delivered with the system over here as well. So let's have a look at, for example, patrons who haven't ever checked anything out. We can make selections here. So we can say, let's have a look to see student, category of student, and let's say that they haven't checked out within the last year. So we're looking specifically for patron category of student that have no checkouts within the last date there. You can limit how many results you're going to get as well, and you can say what limit option if you wanted to limit it by library and so on. Submit that and I get my results on the screen. It tells me what my filters were. So my borrower category was the student ST and without issues since the date range that I specified as well. And I get the details on screen. So again, that's a canned report. It allows me to make minimal selections, but I can't manipulate what the report is set to do. And I certainly can't change the output either. Coming back into our page here, under the other area, I mentioned in my introduction that there is an open database schema. And if we have a look at that, you can see that it opens up in a new tab for the version of Koha that we're using. And you have a full overview of all the database tables that are available within Koha. And if I just select, let's have a look. If I go on to the next page, for example, or I can search, so let's search for the borrowers table. We get the borrowers table here, and when I click onto that, I get details on the left-hand side of all the columns that are available within the borrowers table. And this allows me to build up my query to run my own report. And if you are interested in how the fields relate to each other, you do have visual diagrams in there as well, and it allows you to sort of see how all the fields are linked. We also have our Koha reports library, and I can't emphasize the sort of importance and usefulness of this resource. This is accessible by anybody, and anybody can contribute to it as well. So this is a library of reports that has been put together by members of the Koha community, and it's divided into different tabs as here. So if you're looking for specific for a circulation report, you've got a separate tab there. And this is really our first port of call on the help desk. If our customers are needing assistance with a report, we would have a look to see if somebody had run a similar report before. And then we can take that report, put it into our system, I'll show you that in a moment, and then manipulate it as we need to. So I'll come back to that in due course. But before we do, I'm going to show you this area now with the guided reports. And if we have a look under the Use Saved option, this shows us a list of all the reports that have been set up by anybody that uses this system. And this basically can be grouped in any way that you wish. On our demo system, we have it grouped by module, but I've seen some libraries, they have it grouped by branch, or they maybe even have it grouped by staff member, or they maybe have like a group for systems people, and then a group for managers, and then a group for branch staff. Whatever you can have, you're in control of how these tabs appear. Now, what you see on the table here is the ID. So every report gets allocated its own unique identifier. The report name, what group it's in, if there's a potential subgroup, who created the report. So you can see we've got some names in here too, when it was created, last time it was edited, the last time it was run, and so on. You can search within your table. Or you can use your filters on the on the left-hand side to filter by, if you know that you'd written a report, but you couldn't remember what group it was in or whatever, you could put yourself in as the author, or you could use a keyword, or you could use a date range as well, and your filters in there. You can also, because it is a table format, search within the table, or you can basically sort within the tables as well by clicking on the column sort. So if you're looking for, the report by its name, whatever, you manipulate it that way. Now over on the right-hand side here, you've got your actions menu. So you've got a quick route to just run the report. Or if we have a look at what else is within here, we can see if we've got permission, we could delete a report, we could share a report, we can edit it, we can have a look at the query, and we can copy it and so on as well. So let's have a look at a couple. If I go into the patrons subgroup here, and let's just have a look at this particular report. There's users and patrons category S. If I have a look at this report, if I preview it, it gives me the query that it's going to use when running this report. So Koha lives on a MySQL database, so it's using SQL queries here. So it's telling me what fields within the database I've selected, and then it's put a filter in as well. So it's going to output these details for me where the borrower's category code equal to S, and it's going to order by card number. So that's what it's going to do. And I'm just going to run that report, and it's done exactly that. It's output the card number, the surname, the first name, and the email address. And that's where the patron category matches S. In this case, that would maybe be staff or something like that. Now, what I can also do is click on any of these. These are clickable links because these are card numbers. And I also have a little arrow there, and I can go straight to checkout should I want to do so from here as well. I've also got this option here where I can post this list straight through into a batch modification. So if I'm wanting to batch edit user records, item records, anything like that, I can run a report first to get the list of records to be edited and then send them straight through. So that's another useful tool. Show you another example. If I come into my catalogue group this time, and I'm going to look at this report number 18, total number of items by branch. I'm going to just select that. I'm going to run this report and it outputs a table by default. So it gives me my branches and the number of items that are at each branch. With this report, however, I can create a chart. So this allows me to select a pie, a bar, or a line chart. And obviously I've not got much data to output here, so I've only got the option for one column, but you may have multiple columns depending upon the report. So let's select the pie chart and I can draw it. And you can see I can hover over the different slices of the pie and it will give me a wee bit more information, but you've got your key at the bottom here as well. So you can see what colour represents which. And when I hover over them, again, the relevant slice in the pie is highlighted. Just to show you a different one, if I go to bar chart, and again, you can hover over. And finally, you've got your line chart. Now, a bar chart as well, you could have multiple bars depending on the columns that you have. And here you've got your little dots on your line chart too. So that's quite a nice little feature. So finally, just to have a look at how you create a new report. So you've got different options within this guided reports area here. The first one I'm going to do is create a guided report from a step-by-step process, essentially. So you can see here, I'm building a report and I've got step 1 of 6. So first of all, it asks what type of report are you running? So let's run a circulation report. Step 2, pick what type of report it is. Table, be fine. Step 3 is where you're selecting your columns for display. And I'm going to put these 3 over. Yeah, maybe as I say, I want their email address. No, I won't want their email address, but maybe I would want their home library or their category code or that kinds of thing in there too. So I'll just add that over. Okay. Step 4, I can select my criteria. So I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to select on a transaction type. And in my filter, I'm going to select issue. So I'm looking for specifically checkout transactions in this report. When I go to next, step 5 allows me to do sums, but I'm not interested in that for this report. And step 6 finally says, do you want the report to be ordered and if so, how? So let's select borrower's surname and I've got the choice of ascending or descending. So I'll say ascending order. Now what this does is it gives me the query that the report will use to run, but obviously I didn't need to know that SQL syntax. I was guided through every step of the process, which is a great thing. You do not need to know SQL to be able to use Koha reports. But I'm just going to save it now. So I'm just going to, I'll just put in FB10. 10 for the date. I'm going to put it in a group. So let me just put it into the circulation group for now and I can save that. And now I can run the report. I can amend any of the syntax if I want to, just run the report and I get my results. Okay, so it has output the information that I want it to, and it has sorted it as I've selected as well in surname order. And it's output the card number, the surname, the first name, the category code as I selected. Okay. Other options you have when you're creating a report, however, is to create from SQL directly. So what we can do here is if you do know SQL syntax, you can start typing. But as you can see, as I'm typing, it's giving me options. I'm not going to do this in any great detail, but I'm just going to quickly show you. So I'm selecting item. I want the items barcode, I think. Yeah, let's do the barcode. So there's my items barcode, and I'm going to select it from. So I'm selecting something from a table. So in this case, it's the items table. And I'm going to put a filter in. So I'm going to say where for my filter. And I'm just going to do items. So I'm making a selection on the item type. So where items type, and I'm just going to put in equals, and I'm putting in my actual selector in there too. So I can do that, and I can run the report there. And that's saying I'm wanting this report to output the barcodes from the items table if the item type is equal to book. And I've just mistyped that. So there we go, item type there. I can select it. The drop downs, as you can see, are really helpful because if you do make a mistake there, it does give you the correct syntax to use. So I can save that report. I can put a name in. So let test. Again, I can put it into a group or not. So let's just put that into my cataloging group, and I can save that report. And again, I can run it and I get my results. Finally, just to go back to the reports library, I can show you what you would do here. So let's say I was interested in looking at something that had duplicate ISBNs. So I can search the reports library. I can find somebody's written this report before. That looks like it would work. I can simply copy that, pop it in to my new report, paste it in there, and manipulate it as relevant. So that is really all I wanted to show. It was a very quick overview into the reporting tools within Koha, looking at the different types of reports, looking at the saved reports, and looking at how you create different reports as well. So I hope that was useful. Thank you very much.